So for Inside Out 2, you could say I had mixed emotions.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You know, I thought it was funny. Hey there, cinephiles. Today I'm reviewing Inside Out 2, the sequel to a top 5 Pixar movie that's 9 years old. Wow. Anyways, and it's pretty alright, in the sense that it's sort of a retread of the first film, except with new emotions and a slightly different age. Which, sure, it's kind of hard to capture that magic of the first one by also doing something completely new and innovative, but I mean, come on, man, you're Pixar, and you took 9 years in between the two films. I wanted something fresh. The original felt like such a breath of fresh air at the time, whereas with this one, it just felt so telegraphed, and unfortunately, I'm already forgetting a good amount of it because it just kind of felt light. Story-wise, this just kind of feels like a TV or Disney Plus special than it does a true sequel. And don't get me wrong, I do love plenty of aspects about the movie, from the absolutely gorgeous and stunning visuals to a lot of the jokes and a lot of the ideas, and especially that ending, but majority of this film is it's just pretty okay, especially with Pixar standards. And especially when you think back to that first film, you're just kind of going through the motions of the first film, at least the bigger arcs for most of these characters. Sure, there's a lot of this movie that's just slightly different, but you can feel how slightly different it is. And it kind of sucks because I do love a lot of the ideas and them just kind of expanding the lore of the Pixarified mind, if you will, but it's also very contradictory to the lesson of the first film, at least from what I took from it, which to me, the lesson of the first film is how these quote-unquote simplistic emotions, when they band together and you combine them, can create such deep and earned and more complex emotions that aren't just happy, sad, disgust, fear, or anger, but rather something much more profound, which you're kind of just getting with these new emotions that you're introducing in this film. From anxiety to embarrassment to ennui to even envy. It just feels like a lot of these emotions share very similar characteristics to the emotions that we already have here. In fact, so much so, and the movie knows it, that they even make jokes about how some of the emotions would be great friends with the new emotions. And it's kind of because of that I just felt more, not necessarily annoyed, but it didn't make sense to me why this movie was getting made before I saw it, and now that I saw it, it still didn't give me a really great reason for this to have been made. And that's despite what I consider a great ending and a great lesson, not only for kids, but for adults too. But like I said, this could have easily been shorter and just a Disney Plus special. Would we have been robbed of some absolutely stunning shots on the big screen? Yes, but I don't know if that was enough to fully satisfy why this was a major theatrical release for Pixar when we could have just gotten more original work. Especially because I'm still kind of chasing that high from Luca, especially with their more recent stuff. And a lot of my gripes with this movie do stem from it being very similar to the first one, but there is some different stuff here. And the two gripes I have with the different stuff are the changing of some actors. With Fear and Disgust, we get different actors for these roles, and honestly, you can clearly hear it. It's really unfortunate that Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling weren't paid enough to come back, because I do miss their voice acting. Not that the new voice actors do horrible, it does sound like different characters. Especially because in this one, you do get a lot more of anger, fear, and disgust. But there are some positives with the changes. I just wish they were somehow included or at least alluded to in the original film. Because truly to me, it just feels like they're retconning a lot of stuff that I loved about the first movie. Even though I do like a lot of the ideas that are presented here. This movie just really is a mixed bag of emotions for me. Especially because I do like the majority of the new emotions as well. Anxiety unfortunately falls into the category of being something that I love the idea a lot more than the actual execution of it. Just the way they kind of handle her character and what she does, and I don't know, just how anxiety is portrayed in this. It just didn't feel as great of a portrayal as I thought it could have been. That being said though, I do love where that character ends up. And it plays into the whole thing of how I love the theme of the overall film at large. But yeah, I just can't help but continue to compare this to the original film because there are so many similarities in some of their character arcs and just some of how the story is being delivered to you. And I don't know, overall, I'm just slightly disappointed with this movie. But I still do think it is a good time and worth watching in the theater. It's not my favorite Pixar movie, but it is for sure not my least favorite either. In fact, I would have it slightly above the middle ground of Pixar movies. perfect, but at the end of the day, especially for Pixar standards, this movie just feels like it's missing something to be truly memorable. I still do suggest the film, especially if you love the first one, because this is basically Inside Out 2, another adventure. And with that being said, I give Inside Out 2 a 3 out of 5 stars. It's still very much worth watching. I still really like a lot of aspects about this movie, and I'm sure I'm going to be on the lower side of this because I can see this movie meaning so much to so many people of many ages. And who knows, maybe with a rewatch I'll like it a bit more, but I could also easily see it going down a bit too. But anyways, also be sure to stay tuned for that post-credit scene. And overall, those are my thoughts for Inside Out 2. Be sure to let me know what you think of the movie down in the comments below. As always, thank you guys for liking, commenting, and subscribing. Be sure to stay tuned for more Yeti Films content, and I'll watch you later.